and welcome to Among the Jungle podcast. I'm botanist and host, Shii Kaina, and I'd love for you to join me as I interview the incredible plant people of Instagram to create an audio vault of inspiring botanical knowledge while harnessing a deeper connection with us in our natural world. If you're ready, it's time to inspire your wild. Aloha, jungle dwellers. It's Shii. And from birth to botanist, today we'll follow the path your girl followed to her botanical dreams. This episode is a solo episode. We're having our first guest on next week. So get your plant nerd glasses on because this journey is very green. If you asked me for the short version of how I became inspired to be a botanist, I would definitely have to say Jurassic Park. And at first, that probably doesn't seem like it makes any sense. But I'm referring to my botanical hero, paleobotanist Ellie Sattler. Her huge heart, knowledge of the plant kingdom, care and compassion for the animal kingdom as well. She was just an absolute inspiration. I had other inspirations as well, like Pocahontas, Bill Nye, and Captain Planet and the Planeteers. And I think that has a little to do with my love for plants and love for the earth. But today isn't about the short version of this story. Even though I'll admit myself, there's little more thrilling than plants and dinosaurs. This is the long version of how I became a botanist. I really didn't realize how much exposure I had had to plants until I was quite a bit older. So I think the best way to break down this story in true botanical fashion is by agricultural zone. So let's start our journey in Michigan. Agricultural Zone 6A. I was born way up north in Michigan, under a particular set of stars that make me an Aquarius sun and a Scorpio moon. I have 3 brothers and 1 sister, and so I had lots of people to play outside with, go get lost in the woods, splash in the mud. So we spent a lot of time playing outdoors. We also took weekly trips out to visit my grandmother at the strawberry fields and spent Easter holidays at my grandfather's watermelon farm in Missouri, complete with a fruit orchard, hummingbirds that'll land on your finger, all-day Easter egg hunts, a tire swing, and even arrowhead hunting adventures. Beyond that, my parents had a garden in the backyard. We planted tons of flowers every year in the landscaping. And that was honestly one of my fondest memories. Every single spring, my mom would take me to Botanist's nursery, and we would pick out all her spring flowers. And we did not have the same taste in plants. She would buy the same perennials year after year, and all I wanted were the tropicals, better known in Michigan as annuals. One of my favorite memories from this time is when she would let me pick out flowers from my section of the garden, and I would always pick a hibiscus bush, knowing very well we have not had any success overwintering one so far. Yet year after year, she would buy me one, and we would come up with some new scheme to try and get it to overwinter. But I'll be real with you, we never got a single one of those bushes to overwinter. But it was more about the resilience we shared. Never giving up on that hibiscus bush, whatever it takes. As of January this year, my mom has replaced over 18 plastic plants in her house with real tropical plants. I'm so proud of her. It's been such a delight to inspire each other in this life. Thank you so much, Mama, for inspiring a place inside of me you didn't even know was going to grow. But also know I'm watching you, girl, because I know you're trying to take my Thai constellation. More on that in a little bit, though. It's really through all these experiences that a seed was planted, which led me to my first plant job. And can you guess where that was? Botanist's nursery. That's right, the nursery my mom had been taking me to for years and years. This is where I met my first master gardener and discovered what a wealth of knowledge the extension program truly is. I went right home and added Become a Master Gardener to my bucket list. And I highly recommend all my plant people out there get in contact with their local extension program. Take your master gardener training. Just the network, the connections, the people, but the knowledge is just absolutely invaluable. And they can set you up with incredible volunteer opportunities in your community while simultaneously getting hands-on botanical experience digging in the dirt. Because at the end of the day, the only way to gain experience in this field is dirty fingernails. Flash forward now a couple years where we take our second family trip to Hawaii, Kauai, Hawaii, and this time we visited the National Tropical Botanical Garden. I don't know how many of you have been to the National Tropical Botanical Garden, but I'm going to tell you right now, it is the most magical place on Earth. And also where they filmed Jurassic Park. Upon boarding our tour for the garden, our tour guide told us of this internship that the garden offers for plant scientists. An amazing year spent there, living on property, working at the grounds, getting to help with the sea turtles. I knew immediately that this is what I was setting out to achieve. And when we returned to mainland, your girl landed in Tennessee, Agricultural Zone 7A. And honestly, this is where everything really picked up speed. You see, the University of Tennessee has a special plant science program, one of only 2 programs in the entire nation. So it was here that I was really able to develop my specialty, which is the connection between people and plants. This is also where I became a certified master gardener in 2010. During my time as a Knox County Master Gardener, I held the chair of the Speakers Bureau. We installed several landscapes for Habitat for Humanity, as well as starting many community garden initiatives, including inner-city schools. Honestly, every experience and connection I have had or made in my time as a master gardener has been an absolutely valuable one. And the world could definitely use more master gardeners. So go check out your local extension office. As far as my working career goes, I started at the local botanical garden, at which point I was offered the pinnacle position of my botanical career, landscape design and education for HGTV's headquarters. And it was absolutely as fun as you would imagine. Huge, unique installations of color, fun, exotic plants for our area, ducks hatching in the landscaping, and huge educational workshops that would give the employees in-depth botanical knowledge about each of the landscape installations. Afterward, we would let the employees rip it all out and take it home, and then I would do a new installation. After my years working for HGTV, I came across my mentor, Dick Ott, president of the Interior Scape Network. And he brought me on to care for his tropical greenhouses and to maintain the plants in the Senator's Building downtown. In his greenhouse is where I saw my first bougainvillea flower bloom indoors, and where I discovered the ambiance that plants can bring to any kind of interior setting. Dick Ott taught me how to be a plant boss, not just a plant person, and that you can truly carve a path in the business aspect of this industry. He taught me to surround yourself by people who are better than you, and to always, always, always under-promise and over-deliver. Fast forward just a couple years, where my tropical journey takes me to South Florida, Agricultural Zone 10B. And if you've learned anything about me so far, you know now your girl is in Eden. Living now in a little island in Southwest Florida, where we grow coconut, mango, lychee, starfruit, also known as my little Hawaii. And I come across my favorite job of all time at Weigert's Tropical Bonsai Nursery. If you haven't heard of Weigert's Bonsai, I highly suggest you check them out on Instagram. I'll also have the link in the show notes. But they are a specialized tropical bonsai nursery down in South Florida, showcasing the incredible work of bonsai artist Eric Weigert and his extensive collection of unbelievable bonsai, only to be complemented by kittens, peacocks, koi fish and water features, and the largest collection of handmade bonsai pots in the country. This place is truly one of a kind, and an absolute must-see if you're ever in the Fort Myers area. I plan to have a future episode just on bonsai, so I'll save the rest of my gushing on that for later. The past couple years I've spent in Florida, I have explored as many of the botanical gardens as possible. They all come with a 20 out of 10 recommendation, starting with our dear Fairchild. Not only is it home to the International Aroid Show each year in September, but also they have some of the most exotic species in existence in their collection. It's very, very impressive. Also recommended are Naples Botanical Garden, Selby Botanical Garden, Henry P. Liu Botanical Garden. Honestly, just promise me if you come across a botanical garden in Florida, you will go. And if you peep my highlights at Aloha Shy on Instagram, there are saved photos of all the botanical gardens I've been to this year. And I plan to continue this practice in the future, as I check off all the botanical gardens on my bucket list. During this time in Florida, I also managed to develop a collection of over 450 plants in less than 900 square feet and a small outdoor patio. Honestly, this collection was the pride of my life, complete with Luna, a mature Thai constellation who took up half the living room, and a neon sign that says, "Welcome to the jungle." And after just 2 months of Luna coming home to our island bungalow, it was time to follow my husband's career to Anchorage, Alaska. After selling almost 450 houseplants and a very intense journey from South Florida to Tennessee, where Luna is now being fostered by my mama, I made the 5,000-mile journey across this country and Canada to Anchorage, Alaska. Agricultural Zone 3A, recently turned 4B due to the accelerated climate change we experience here in Alaska, over 3 times faster than the rest of the country. People were skeptical of how good this place would be botanically for me. But if you're skeptical about the plant life in Alaska, it's because you have never been to Alaska. Not only was Sue the T-Rex found here, but the forest floor is covered with angiosperms, an equisetum species, which are the horsetails, living fossils, thriving for over 150 million years, their existence actually predating the existence of the dinosaurs. Alaska also has a huge cut peony market that we supply the rest of the country with during peak wedding season when they can no longer grow them. On top of all that, it's just unbelievable how much you can eat in Alaska. Mushrooms, berries, spruce tips, flowers, the foraging is just incredible. Of course, with foraging, there is always caution. I'm not suggesting everyone go out and eat all the things. I'm just expressing that coming from somewhere tropical, where most things are toxic for human consumption, it's just incredible to get to experience so many edible delights. When I arrived in Alaska, I had a job lined up at the Alaska Botanical Garden. And this opportunity connected me to some private gardening opportunities as well. I heard it said by local botanist Jeff Lowenfels that you aren't a true botanist until you've experienced a full plant cycle, seed to seed. And watching the botanical garden go seed to seed in 3.5 months was absolutely mind-blowing. I really can't even express all the botanical wonders I've experienced in the last few months of being here, but I've tried to capture some of the magic and shared it with you guys on Instagram. Our guest next week is also a local Alaskan. So if you guys do have any more questions or interest in Alaska, message me at Among the Jungle Podcast on Instagram and we'll definitely get that answered for you. And in the brief scope of things, that brings you up to present. and to the launching of this podcast. I discovered if you have knowledge, you should share it. And this is my way of sharing over a decade and a half's worth of plant knowledge, combined with the plant knowledge of our guests, to give you botanical coverage from Zone 1A to 13B and beyond. I once heard the question in a podcast, what do people come to you for help or advice on? And it could be a clue into what you're really good at. Mine is obviously plants. And I see the absolute joy it brings people when they get to pick my botanical brain. I'm always happy to overshare. So creating this platform was the perfect way to share my deepest passions with you. And as promised, I told you I would share with you the inspiration I came across when connecting my purpose with this podcast, which all boils down to two simple questions. If you're willing to take the time to really think about them, I'm sure they can help you uncover your purpose as well. So let us just take a moment to take a deep breath and answer these two questions together. If everyone would just take a moment, get comfortable in your seat, and take in one deep breath with me. In what way can I help? In what ways would I love to help? There you have it. Combine those two questions with action, and you have the 3-step formula to uncovering and pursuing your unique purpose using your skills and your life experiences that you possess to make this world a better place. All you need to know is what skills you have, how you love to use them, and then go out and make a difference in this world just by being your beautiful self. And I have a challenge for you this week. Pull out a sheet of paper and in the center write how I can help and circle it. Around it, write all of the skills you can think of that you possess. Star and highlight the ones that really light you up and when you do them, bring you absolute joy. This is your blueprint. Afterward, take a moment to just really soak in all you're capable of. All the skills that you've acquired, how truly incredible you are as a human being, and how much you have to offer this world. Your potential is truly exponential when your soul is set on fire. I hope you enjoyed this first full episode of Among the Jungle podcast. And you can find the show notes for this episode at amongthejungle.com/001. You can find my personal page at Aloha Shii on Instagram. And I'll see you here with our first guest next week. I am so grateful to the plants that bless this beautiful earth, and to you for choosing to nurture a wild place inside of your heart. I hope this episode inspired your wild, and I'd love to hear your feedback, suggestions for future guests, and other botanical notes at amongthejungle.com or amongthejungle on Instagram. It's been lovely exploring this exotic world with you today, and I look forward to where the journey takes us next week. Mahalo for tuning in, and stay wild.